Physicists are still working on the origin of the cosmos. Among them is Lawrence Krauss, whom I shall be talking to next week. Now, it is very mysterious how the universe came into being. It's a deeply mysterious and interesting question.
And can I just interrupt? It's an old question, a very old question. Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century was asking this same question. He said there must have been a time when no physical things existed, but something can't come from nothing. That was his view. It's just been repeated by us.
Something can come from nothing, and that's what physicists are now telling us. I could give you, you asked me to give you a layman's interpretation. It would be a very, very layman's interpretation. When you have matter and antimatter and you put them together, they cancel each other out and give rise to nothing. What Lawrence Krauss is now suggesting is that if you start with nothing, the process can go into reverse and produce matter and antimatter. The theory is still being worked out.
Well, there are many troubles with Richard's teachings, but a fundamental one is that he dumbs down God and he soups up nothing.
You can quickly respond to that.
You can dispute exactly what's meant by nothing, but whatever it is, it's very, very simple. And why is that funny?
Well, I think it's a bit funny to be trying to define nothing.
Who created God?
This question itself is irrational. I'll tell you why it's irrational. Okay. If you say this is a creator, and the creator has been created by something, you will ask the same thing ad infinitum. You will have the infinite regression of this question. Say, okay, what created the creator? Then you will say, what created the creator? And if this is the case, we wouldn't exist. Why? Because if I require you to create me, and for you to create me, he needs to create you. And then we have an infinite cycle. I will never be created, and the table will never come into existence. But if the table did come into existence, that means this infinite chain doesn't exist. And I'm saying you cannot keep saying who created the creator. Right. Because when you do that, because the universe wouldn't exist if there was infinite change. So there has to be an eternal thing, which is what we refer to as God.
So it's an irrational thing, right? To say
who told you the reason? Why are you saying that?
Because like the building. I see what you say,
but I feel both of you don't want to believe in God. You don't believe.
من ناحية دار من أكل خلق الله كيأمنوا بشي حوايج اللي ما حتى المنطق ما كيقولهاش. كيفاش الحاجة تجي من والو؟ سول أي ملحد راه إلا كان ملحد دار بصح وكيأمن بداكشي اللي كان كيقول ريتشارد هوكين، وريتشارد هوكين براسو كان كيقول نظرية هما رجعوا نظرية حق. هو قال لي نظري، قال لي وبزاف ديال العلماء اللي في نفس التخصص ديال ريتشارد هوكين حتى هما قالوا ما اتفقوش معاه، والناس دغيا خدوها مسلمات، دغيا اتفقوا عليها ودغيا قالوا راه كاينه. تقدر تجيب شي حاجه من والو. كيفاش تجيب من حاجه والو؟ اي حاجه كاين عندها سميتو مخترع، حاجه اللي معتمده على حاجه. ديما هذا الكون ديالنا كل حاجه معتمده على حاجه، كل حاجه كتعتمد على شي حاجه باش تكمل حياتها، ولا باش تعيش، ولا باش تخرج لهذا الكون. وهما كيقول لك كيتفقوا عليك بهادشي كامل. تقول لهم بورطابل منين جا؟ تيقول لك منين جا؟ راه شي واحد كيشوف البورطابل كتقول لي منين جا، كيقول لك هادشي راه اختراع كيبان ذكي، وكيبان لسيبو بانه ذكي وكيعرف شنو تيدير، وكيبان الذكاء والحكمه فيه وداكشي. كتمشي كتهضر معاهم في كلشي كيتفقوا معاك. كاين لا الكون هو اكثر حاجه معقده، اكثر من التليفون، اكثر من البيسي، اكثر من اي حاجه سميتو. وكيجيو حتى البشر حتى شي واحد ما خلقوهم بوحدهم، بوم جاو هكا بوك بحال شي لعبه كتسبوني فيها شي حاجه كتبق كتلوح شي حاجه راه صافي راه بانت. هكاك هما كيقولوا الكون جاو. دابا تخيل هادو، دابا انت غدير فيهم عقلك، غادي تمشي تتعامل معاهم. حتى المنطق ما عندهمش.
When we think about it, like anybody with basic human intelligence would tell you we didn't create ourselves, right? Of course not, right? And then think about this, like I got a phone here, right? If I told you, what's your name?
Alex.
Alex?
Alexa.
Alexa. Alexa, if I told you that nobody made this phone. Over billions of years, grains of sand just evolved into this phone as it is today. Like you see, it tells you the date, even tells you the Islamic date, you know? All of that just came by itself.
How do I get that?
Well, I can set it up for you. It's Dhul Hijjah, it's an Islamic calendar. You put the Islamic calendar on there, right? And then even this functionality where it recognizes my face and unlocks, it just evolved. At first, I had to dance for it, and then I just had to look at it, and it evolved. Would you believe me?
Well, there's a few more levels before that. You know?
Right, exactly. So to think that this evolved by itself as it is today, it's not believable, right?
Of course not, no.
Yeah. So just like that.
Technology don't evolve like that. No.
Exactly. So now think about this. Your body is more complex than that phone. Your recognition is better than the iPhone, right? Yeah. Your ability to think is better than Siri, right? Your ability to hear is better than the microphone.
For the moment, anyway, yeah.
For the moment, right? But even if tomorrow Siri becomes more complex, you would still believe that somebody programmed it, right? Somebody had to have initiated. Can something come from nothing? No, right? Something has to come, right? So in that sense, it's not logical to think that there is no creator, right? Now, who that creator is, we can talk about. But the first thing is, like in atheism, they would say there's no God, there's no creator, everything just happened on accident. But that doesn't make sense to you, right?
Never really thought about it too
well,
far.
Then now that you're thinking about it, what makes sense to you, Alexa? Do you think that all of this is just an accident? Like, would that make sense to you?
I wouldn't say it's an accident. It's more like a bunch of like effort put into each other to create a society.
So who put that effort?
Well, our ancestors, obviously.
But who created them? Like I'm not talking about society.
That's the big question, isn't it?
Well, exactly. There's a question, right? So now think about this, right? Like, look at the sky, how beautiful it is, how perfect it is, right? Ozone layer protects us, and even though we're kind of ruining it as humans, but who set that up, right? Who set up a zone that will protect us from the UV rays? Otherwise, we would have already burnt up, right? Somebody has to have set that up, right?
Maybe.
Well, but think, what's the other alternative?
That's the question no one can really answer at this point. Yeah?
Well, exactly. So then leave the others out of it. If the only answer that makes sense is somebody did set it up, then there's no maybe. There is somebody. Now, who that is, we'll talk about. But we would have to agree that this didn't just happen by itself.